Next up we have the Scottish Fiesta Championship, again a mixture of the ST cars towards the front and the older XR2 machine still going strong towards the back of the field as well, and it is current champion Wayne McCauley, the man who captured the championship in such dramatic style at the final round of last year, who was qualified on pole position in the wet conditions. I'll hand it to Richard for their first race of the year.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, good performance from Wayne in qualifying, 1.5 seconds quicker than Peter CRUICKSHANK, then Kevin White and Andrew Christie, Jim Deans and Stephen Gray, Russell Morgan followed by Barry Farquharson and Alec Townley, Stephen Ward next from Gavin Butterworth, Chris McNeil, Graham Cuthbert and Gordon Haston completing the grid. Mixture of the older XR2s and the newer STs. Jim Dean's pole position for the XR2s ahead of Stephen Gray. So wet conditions, light sequence already underway. Wayne McCauley in the green number 1. It looks like a good start by both of them. Good start too by Kevin White in third place, who's looking up the inside and trying to follow. He's trying to get past Wayne McCauley. He'll do well here to get past Peter CRUICKSHANK, who's certainly no slouch getting off the line at Knockhill, and he's done that. So Kevin White into second, in car with Peter CRUICKSHANK. Peter will be looking to get second back. Meanwhile, Wayne McCauley showing that pace that he demonstrated in qualifying and already starting to get away from the field. There's our mix of XR2s plus STs. Stephen Ward in the black and green ST. Some really smart cars here, and wonderful to see on the grid a fair number of newcomers as we go in car with Stephen Ward, the man from Coles Norton, racing in the ST class. He was the slowest of the STs in qualifying, so he's got a bit of ground to make up, and this is the man at the sharp end of things at the moment, Wayne McCauley, a triple champion here in Scotland, a triple saloon car racing champion. That is something to put on your CV, isn't it? He was the XR2 champion in 2013. He then won the 2014 ST championship, moving up from the XR2s, and retained the title last year after a great scrap with George Orr. And sadly, George not racing this weekend. Don't know if we'll see him in the course of the season, but fingers crossed that we may well do that. But McCauley out front. Oh, and contact between two STs. Andrew Christie and Russell Morgan. Christie in the blue car. Russell Morgan, the Edinburgh-based driver in the red machine, is parked up and becomes the first casualty of the race. I don't know if we're going to see Andrew Christie continue. Problems for Gordon Haston, one of the newcomers as well, facing the wrong way in his car, and limping round is Andrew Christie. So let's hope that Andrew can get fired up and get going again, but we're focused on the battle for second place. So Peter CRUICKSHANK there in 61, a long-serving driver in the Scottish Fiesta Championship, was the XR2 champion in 2012, then made the move up into the STs. That was the year that George Orr was overall champion. I've lost count how many starts that Peter CRUICKSHANK may or may not have had, but I'll try and dig that out as the racing continues later on in the years. But it's a very impressive number of starts here, and Peter, one of the big characters of the championship racing here at Knockhill. So past Russell Morgan's car goes the scrap for second, and at the moment Kevin White is the car precluding Peter CRUICKSHANK from going through and challenging. You can see the green car right in the distance, just going out of shot, is Wayne McCauley, the green number 1, well clear at the moment of the battle for second place. And at the moment Kevin White looks like he has got things relatively sorted out. The man from Stirling coming down into the hairpin. Peter CRUICKSHANK still there. Problems too for Graham Cuthbert, one of the newer drivers in the XR2 championship, and you can see how slippery it is off on the grass, and that could well be game over for Graham Cuthbert. I suspect the marshals will probably do their work and get him back on track. Race leaders though starting to encounter a little bit of backmarker traffic, which they do with no particular problems at all. Wayne McCauley, I'll remind you, still the race leader. Fastest lap of the race for Wayne as well. Peter CRUICKSHANK is the chaser here. The orange car trying to close down. Josh Orr was last year's XR2 Newcomers champion. Stephen Gray, the overall champion last year, as indeed he was the year before. A very good battle with Jim Deans, who qualified on XR2 pole. So we have the two distinct championships, or the two distinct classes within this Scottish Fiesta Championship. Here's the view from Peter CRUICKSHANK. We'll tell you a little bit more about the format of the championship later, as CRUICKSHANK challenges Kevin White. Good run through the chicane there, and now up the hill. Hasn't had an answer to the second place man so far. Did a good qualifying time, and still trying to challenge for that second position. Wouldn't be a bad way to open up the campaign, but they must be scratching their heads, wondering what they can do about Wayne Macaulay. White, in fact, seemingly opening a little bit of a gap over Peter CRUICKSHANK, as you would expect, closing up under braking for Scotsman. The ST's, fair number of race cars still around. You can pick up race prepared cars. There's a national championship. Tempted to say English championship because they don't race in Scotland. They do have an away day on Anglesey, the national championship. It don't at the moment come up here, which is a pity when we've got a number of cars that they could mix it up with. I think there are a couple of very slight technical differences between the BRSCC Fiesta Championship, and these cars are Class C in their championship. The interesting thing when you look at the BRSCC Championship is that the XR2s don't run in theirs. They have 4 classes for Fiestas, but they don't have a class for the XR2s. And the XR2s here, of course, date back to 1996 when Alan Keith won the first of his 4 championship titles, preceding Ian Cowie as champion. And the XR2s are deliberately written out of the regs for the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloon Car Championship so that they can continue to run themselves as a separate individual championship. So through shot goes the black car of Barry Farquharson. Alec Townley goes through in red as well. Graham Cuthbert, who has recovered from the mud and the grass, and Peter CRUICKSHANK now does look a little bit closer, a lot closer in actual fact, because these onboard cameras generally accentuate the gap when we're looking at a car in front. So this has been good work from Peter CRUICKSHANK to close down on the man in front. This is the battle for second and third place. Kevin White's there at the moment, keeping it defensive. You can see over to the right hand side of the track, coming into the hairpin. Keeps it tight. Peter CRUICKSHANK was wider in, might get a bit of a run up the hill here. So CRUICKSHANK putting the pressure on for second place. Up the hill we go. It's a very good run by Peter CRUICKSHANK, and that is experience and knowledge around Knockhill circuit and how to drive these cars. Great move by Peter CRUICKSHANK to take second position, and well caught by our in-car camera and indeed our outfield cameras as well. A little bit of an issue there for Kevin White, who has made a tiny mistake coming down the hill and punished for that. Peter CRUICKSHANK now safe back in second position where he started. Wayne Macaulay is a long way down the road. I don't think, barring any mechanical problems for Wayne Macaulay, Peter CRUICKSHANK is going to close up on him. So CRUICKSHANK on his way to a podium here from Kevin White. So it's Wayne Macaulay, Peter CRUICKSHANK, Kevin White. Fourth position is the lead XR2, Jim Deans, and Jim is ahead of championship arch rival Stephen Gray. And then it's Stephen Ward, who's running fourth in the STs. He's in sixth position at the moment. So there is Wayne Macaulay on his last lap around the Knockhill circuit to notch up another win. Is he going to be the first driver to take 3 consecutive ST titles? We've had 3 consecutive XR2 championship titles with Alan Keith, which was 2000-2002 inclusive. Problems there for Gavin Butterworth, the Inverness driver, who gets going again. No damage done aside from a little bit of pride maybe. So Wayne Macaulay very much on his way, 18 seconds clear on the last lap. So this has been a very dominant performance from the reigning champion, triple champion here in Scotland. Wayne Macaulay down to the hairpin for the last time, and will climb up the hill to see the checkered flag. Barry Farquharson goes through, but there is Wayne Macaulay, who takes the win in the opening round of the 2016 Scottish Fiesta Championship. Goes to Wayne, a couple of the XR2s going across the line. You can see the orange car in the background of Peter CRUICKSHANK, who is going to take second position from Kevin White, who will complete the podium for the STs. Here's Kevin taking the checkered flag now. Macaulay from CRUICKSHANK and White. Jim Dean's winning the XR2. Stephen Gray second in the XR2s. Then Stephen Ward. Barry Farquharson takes a podium in the XR2s. Then it's Gavin Butterworth, Alec Townley, Chris McNeil and Graham Cuthbert completing the finishers in 11th.
Wayne, picking up where you left off, no George this year, but Kevin's quick and obviously CRUICKSHANK as well, but no one was going to catch you there. Huge lead over 10 seconds.
Yeah, no, I couldn't believe the lead that I actually had. I knew after the first lap I'd got enough on Kevin that I knew he'd be struggling to catch that gap back up in the wet, but I never realised the car was that good in the wet, to be honest. It's the best it's ever driven in the wet.
I did see the timing screen towards the end of the race, but in the middle of the race you were 1.1 seconds quicker than anybody else per lap.
Yeah, jeez. That was good.
What can you say, eh? Dominant.
You can say, is there?
You'll be hoping it stays wet for the second one.
All year, to be honest.
Well done.
Thanks very much.
And our XR2 winner, Jim, fantastic. Yesterday somebody said to me there's a red XR2 out there and he's absolutely flying, and it was someone in a mini said it to me, and I thought that would be Jim, and you've backed it up today with a win.
Yeah, it was good. Aye. It was great in practice yesterday, and it was good this morning as well in practice and qualifying. So yeah, the race obviously was good as well, so here's hoping we can just maintain that pace.
You were here midweek doing some testing, some secret testing. I was here, I saw you going around there, going well. I think it was Wednesday, wasn't it?
That was Monday night, and it's no longer a secret now. Yeah, but it was good as well, yeah.
It's good. It's when it takes you need time in the car as well. And I need to mention how nice that car is. I said it belongs in a museum. It's absolutely pristine. I hope I'm not jinxed it.
No, I hope not. But yesterday I had a broken axle, so with a big off just coming out the hairpin, you can see the tape at the back there just holding it together. But apart from that, it's fine. Yeah.
It's a great way to start the year. Well done.
Good, thank you.
So for the final time today, the Fiestas are lining up to head out on track. Dry conditions this time. We saw Wayne Macaulay from pole position, last year's champion, absolutely dominate race number 1. This time in the dry, can he do the same? Richard, over to you.
Cheers, Joe. I wonder if we're going to see a double. Wayne Macaulay looks strong. Peter CRUICKSHANK alongside Kevin White and Jim Dean's on row 2. Then it's Stephen Gray and Stephen Ward. Barry Farquharson 7th with Gavin Butterworth. Alec Townley, Chris McNeil, Graham Cuthbert, Gordon Haston, Andrew Christie and Russell Morgan complete the starters. Haston, Christie and Morgan, of course, non-finishers in race number 1. Single file start due to the oil that we had on track from the Scottish Saloon and Sports Car race. You can see oil flag out, green flag were underway, and really no better way to start the race for Peter CRUICKSHANK and Wayne Macaulay, with Kevin White in 3rd place. Literally a continuation of race number 1, apart from that 18-second gap that Wayne Macaulay had in the wet in race number 1. Jim Dean's here leading the XR2. Stephen Gray, double champion, chasing him, and then in behind Stephen Ward in the black and green ST. And that's the great thing about this championship. If you're in an ST, maybe as a new driver, you can get up amongst the XR2s and have a little bit of a race with those, or even if you're maybe one of the faster ST drivers perhaps having a bad day, there's always someone to have a race with. Here we go in car with Kevin White. So down into the hairpin. Kevin, of course, by virtue of his start in race number 1, got up into the lead and had a great tussle with Peter CRUICKSHANK right the way through that first race, and it was one of the highlights of the race for me. And Kevin White now has got to try and work out his racecraft, as we've got now making progress. Stephen Ward looking down the inside of Stephen Gray, manages to go past. He's going to nip past the leading XR2 of Jim Dean's. That might leave the door open for Stephen Gray as well in the light blue 24 car. Behind them is Barry Farquharson. Barry taking 3rd place in the XR2s in race number 1. Also took the XR2 newcomers win, and that's a separate class which is particularly good for attracting brand new drivers in. Gavin Butterworth in behind. So as you can see, there is still so much life left in the XR2s. I've been watching them myself for many years. Remember the likes of Ian Forrest, double champion in 98, 99. And we've had some superb drivers coming through the XR2s, and if you look at the list, apart from the ones I've mentioned during race 1. Ollie Mortimer was champion in 2004. Gordon Shedden, of course, now a touring car driver, raced in the championship, but significantly wasn't a champion in Scottish XR2s. Scott Fraser, Ian Munro, who's now front runner in the Mini Championship, and Wayne McCoy. David Slay, top prep guy in the Minis, he was champion and newcomers champion in XR2s in 2008. So there's still plenty of life to be had in this championship. Great looking cars, and long may it continue. And in addition to the cars that you can see on track, there are still some cars tucked away in garages that we're likely to see before the end of the season. But a three-way scrap for the lead of the XR2s. We go back to the STs, and Peter CRUICKSHANK coming under pressure from Kevin White, who looks up the inside, goes to the outside line. A little bit of a lock up there as he turned in. It wasn't the smoothest of entries into the hairpin for Kevin White. That's going to compromise his speed. Still got speed though, having said that, as he comes up the straight, with Peter CRUICKSHANK still in second position, immediately ahead of him, and he's following wheel for wheel at the moment, maybe thinking about just trying to watch where Peter might have a chink in his armour. How fast and how close is that? Down into Duffus Dip, you saw a dab on the brakes from Peter CRUICKSHANK. Same again, CRUICKSHANK wide line into Scotsman, doesn't feel under pressure. Did you see how the curb can unsettle the car? That curb didn't. The one at Scotsman did slightly. Through goes Kevin White. Wonderful onboard footage, and Kevin looking just so cool in the car, and driving it so smoothly. There is Wayne McCauley talking about smooth, getting away with this one as well. Lap times a lot quicker than they were in the wet conditions in race number 1. Much drier, as you can see. The fastest lap of race 1, a 65.4, and the best lap on this one, 62.4. So 3 seconds a lap quicker, and Wayne McCauley away and down the road, but not by as much. He really did drive his socks off in race number 1 to pull out that huge gap, 18 seconds. As we go back to Stephen Gray, still trying to put the pressure on Jim Deans. And third position, Barry Farquharson, Forfar-based driver in third, now challenged for the lead. And Stephen Gray goes to the outside line. He's braving where there might be some fluid there, and he was just having a little look, but certainly having a go. So we've got some good battles going on track. One for second position here, another one for the lead of the XR2s. And we'll try and keep tabs on both of them throughout the course of this 12-lap race. Wayne McCauley still in front, though. And Wayne, pole position. Looks like it will possibly be fastest lap in this one again. Nobody really close enough to touch him on lap times at the moment. Here's the view from Kevin White. Again, wide line into the hairpin. And let's see whether he can get the run up here. He might be able to just tuck in a little bit tighter. No, he doesn't. It's a wider line out of the hairpin again than Peter CRUICKSHANK, who goes across towards the inside of the circuit. This is a game of cat and mouse between the two. And Kevin White this time goes to the wider line. This is what we saw Stephen Gray trying to do in the XR2s. And Kevin White's having a very good go at challenging for second position. Thinks better of it as they go down into Duffus Dip. Neither of these guys, of course, want to open the season with a non-finish on their points table, points chart for the start of the season. Wayne McCauley still away and in the lead, and CRUICKSHANK and White really having a super race, really, between these two. Race leader already into back marker territory. So Wayne McCauley already dealing with the back marker traffic. That's not going to slow him up at all. It might play a little bit of a key moment for these two chasers. Doesn't look like it though. The XR2 sticking to the outside line. So good driving by the back marking XR2 thus far. Another back marker looming for the race. It's Gordon Haston that they were coming up on. Chris McNeil is next up. So Gordon Haston is passed by the second and third place battle overall, and also in the STs. So this working out pretty good so far. Wayne McCauley still clear. Fastest lap still for Wayne McCauley. Peter CRUICKSHANK there. Chris McNeil is there in yellow. He's going to be the next car to be eaten up. Moves right over. Really good, respectful driver, you've got to say, as ever from the back markers. Moving out of the way of the STs, and they're not interfering with the race. Can be tricky where you've got twists and turns as to know which side to go, but the back markers have provided no problems at all so far. And Wayne McCauley's still the leader. And here comes Kevin White down the inside, hard on the brakes, gets his nose in front. Kevin White up into second place. CRUICKSHANK's going to go for the cutback though. He knows exactly how to deal with that sort of challenge, and CRUICKSHANK, you could just see him edging back into shot. CRUICKSHANK is in second again as they cross the line, still side by side, and Kevin White is going to try and annex second again round the outside line down into Duffers Dip. He's got it! Kevin White's through into second place. What a superb meeting these two have had. So Kevin White back into second, Peter CRUICKSHANK down to third, but White overruns at Scotsman. That surely will lose him speed. He kept his foot in there. It was a very good recovery from going wide. He just kept his foot on the gas, carried on, stays in second position. There is Wayne McCauley. It's Kevin White in second position. Peter CRUICKSHANK in 61 is in third place. Now we're being told there's a 5-second penalty that's going to be applied to Kevin White, as well as a couple of other cars, including number 18 Barry Farquharson and 25 Andrew Christie for track limit. So it looks like Kevin White's going to get second on the road, but that's going to be third in an adjusted result with the penalty. But no question about Wayne McCauley, who will lead with the championship lead on his second defence of the championship. It's been an exemplary meeting for Wayne McCauley, who goes up the hill. The red car of Alec Townley is the XR2 immediately ahead of him, and there's the checker. 2 out of 2 for Wayne McCauley. White is second on the road, but demoted to third for track limits. Second therefore goes the orange car of Peter CRUICKSHANK. The XR2 win is going to go this time to Stephen Gray, and we're going to look in the background. Across the line goes Graham Cuthbert, and we're just waiting. Stephen Gray, you can see, is coming up now. Here comes the XR2 in the light blue car. Stephen Gray takes a win, as does Jim Deans. So Wayne McCauley from Peter CRUICKSHANK, Kevin White third, then Stephen Ward, Stephen Gray XR2 winner from Jim Deans, then Andrew Christie, Russell Morgan next from Gavin Butterworth, Barry Farquharson, Alec Townley, Graham Cuthbert, Chris McNeil and Gordon Haston in 14th place.
Wayne McCauley, fantastic weekend. This morning's dominance was ridiculous. Not quite as dominant in that one, but still a good solid win.
Yeah, I was really pleased with that. I mean, that's double points win for the championship already, so it's like a good start. And I mean, that's even Peter CRUICKSHANK now. He's going to be one contender, especially in the dry. So
Kevin was unfortunate. Did you know about the penalty?
Yeah, I seen the boards coming up. Yeah, and he got the 5-second penalty. Yeah, so
you just backed it off a wee bit.
By the end, yeah.
Well, he didn't see it, I don't think, because he stopped in the second place and then got waved on. I don't think he was aware of it.
Oh right, yeah. Oh well.
Well, points for you.
Yeah, more points for me. Thank you.
Well done, Wayne.
Cheers.
Stephen, race win. Bit of challenge this year. Jim flying, wasn't he, earlier on? Took the first race.
He was, yeah. He qualified very well, and obviously the wet race this morning. Jim's always been very strong in the wet, so he done well. So his honours even now, so that's us going into the next round, equal on points again. So good start to the season. Points.
It's set it up nicely, hasn't it?
Yeah, so hopefully Jim continues on and does more of the season, and we can make a good challenge of it.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
And as the paddock empties, that brings today's racing to a close, but there's plenty more to come throughout the 2016 season, so please make sure you tune in next time.